with those. But she told in terms of numbers and letters. For example, there's this many calories, this has this vitamin, this daily value of fat, or it's become very different from how people used to see food. So yes, what I want to do here today is to offer you a new way to look at this. So here's some celery. This celery comes from my garden, and I'm very proud of it because it's delicious. And according to scientists, it has potassium, folate, vitamin A, C, K, Q, X. It's very healthy for you, according to scientists. But I realize that people today, they're breaking this down into just these little parts. They're trying to divide this into chemicals. And I don't see plants like this. I see plants more as a whole, not just parts. And so, because plants are brilliant, and yes, I like them, apparently. It's very obvious. But they have existed for millions and millions of years. And plants are just amazing in that they feel, as is evident in the flower Touch Me Not, which if you put your finger along it, it closes. They smell. For example, grass, the reason it smells like freshly cut grass, it's because when it gets cut, when it's being destroyed, it gives a kind of a warning signal to other grasses and other plants in the area. So it's actually an SOS. It's not giving you a beautiful smell for no reason. Also, what I think is awesome is plants have been found to speak. They communicate with each other. It was only last century, it was only a few years ago that people found out that different trees communicate with each other. They talk through their roots, all of this. It was only a few months ago. I think it's amazing, but they now have proof that plants actually do talk. What they did was they had scientists use these high-tech tools to transmit their sound waves, their vibrations, which are out of our hearing range. They use tools to get them to where we can hear them. So they put in the human audio frequency. And when plants are talking, it sounds like a South African tongue. Click, 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 click. It's amazing. And what they are saying, we haven't figured that out yet because not all of us speak in terms of plant, but their language is wonderful. But they communicate when they're in distress, I found out. For example, when they're not getting enough water, click, 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 click. When they're dead, they don't make a sound at all, of course. And when just anything that's going on, it's amazing. Plants speak. Okay, so yes, celery. All right. But what I wanted to talk to you about too, besides plants being more than just, calories and vitamins and everything, something we need to pay more attention to is something from the Old Testament. And I am not an expert in the Bible. I haven't even read all of it. And one of the reasons why is because I think, I've always thought, oh, it's just silly stuff. There's this passage about manna, which they talk about as fruit of God. And they say it just rained down from the sky. I always thought this was rubbish. But actually, scientists have found out when they talk about manna, that this is actually a real live food source. But for those of you who are not familiar with it, when they talk about manna in Exodus chapter 16, they describe it as a fine scale-like thing, fine as the hoarfrost on the ground, which is, who understands that? You have to really research. And Moses said unto them, it is the bread which the Lord hath given you to eat. And then again in the book of Numbers, chapter 11, now the manna was like coriander seed, and the appearance thereof is the appearance of bdellium. The people went about and gathered it and ground it in mills, or beat it in mortars, and seethed it in pots, and made cakes of it. And the taste of it was as the taste of a cake baked with oil. So it sounds like magic and a fairy tale, but people have discovered that this is actually a lichen. And this is a form of life that comes from, so there's this tree, it's called the French tamarisk, and this thrives anywhere where there's like nothing else. It's in the desert. And this would have been a tree that the Hebrew people, they caught sight of when they were on their great exodus from Egypt, because it grows in the desert. And so they were walking for miles, and they prayed, we need to find food, we need to find food. And they had this, they heard voices, they got in touch and found out, wait a minute, it's growing on these trees. So the tamarisk trees, I found out um, they have this bug come onto them. And it's this bug, this mealy worm. I'm not quite sure. I don't get involved in bugs and insectology that much, but it's a little bug that what it does is it sucks out the juice from the tree, like the sap of the tamarisks. And what it does is it then excretes a kind of like dewy substance that looks like hoarfrost, which actually is a substance. And so this is like honey coming from bees. And they excrete this and it comes down in little flakes. It's a lichen. So there is actually something. This happens, they describe it in the Bible, and this is exactly what happens to it. And I'll let you read more of that at home. Maybe that can inspire you. But so this lichen, it's not a plant. It's been regrouped as a plant. It's been grouped as a plant. It's no longer a plant. It's its own class. What it is, a lichen is a combination of a fungus and an algae. And so fungus is not a plant. It doesn't have chlorophyll. It doesn't fit the qualities of plantae kingdom, but algae does. This is millions and millions of years before the first vegetable or fruit that produced seeds. And algae is incredible because it's just amazing. Next time you see moss or algae growing in the fish tank, it's a little brown, whatever, be thankful for it. It's not completely dirty. Anyways, so this lichen material, it's made of fungus and algae. And so this is not a plant, but it does practice photosynthesis. It's an ancestor of plant. Also, plants are ancestors of us because we represent them. They start with a vascular system to get. I'm going to spare you all the botanical information, but basically, and they're symbiotic, having a certain number of leaves and stems, and like we have arms and legs, and we breathe in oxygen, whereas they breathe in carbon dioxide and expel oxygen. We work in a very good relationship. So the way I see food now, plants, that's what I use as the main part of the meals. Whenever I cook meals, I base it on the vegetables or fruits, and then I add things to it. So looking at what we eat, this is actually fruit of the universe. This is fruit of the gods. You can see ancient cultures have worshipped these sources from trees and in the grounds for thousands of years. Because look, there's a banana growing off a tree, there's an apple, hey, we can eat it. Everything, even dandelions growing on the grass is edible. And like pecans off the tree, pecans to some of you, pecans. And we have pawpaw trees, which I've never tasted before, but I'm growing a few in my yard now. Give it 3 years. And like there's so many right around us. And it's just amazing how much food is right there. And we think of it in these terms, terms of numbers, and it's just breaking it down in pieces. But what we need to do, I think, is we need to see food as something that this is energy that we are taking to our bodies, because plants, they thrive off the sun, energies from the sunlight. And so we're ingesting all of this, and it may be explained as helping your eyesight, like carrots and vitamin K or whatever. It may help your digestion, but we need to accept that this is a living being. This is an amazing, incredible living being that is hundreds of million years older than us. And it's very wise because it has all of our senses, really. And speaking and hearing that's a recent discovery that I think is amazing. So we need to look at food as more than this. And also, I hope all of you will eat more vegetables and say thanks. Right.